Listen, we got a bunch of pros in marketing and PR, and but here's the thing: if we're going to build our audience and we're going to build our credibility, we gotta get out there and not just talk to our tribe, but grow the tribe. And so we spend, Kelly, a lot of time talking about that magnetic messaging. How do you motivate and activate your donors? And so we're excited to have you here about how do we, you know,
broaden our horizons.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Well, thank you. I am thrilled and honored that you asked me to speak to this group. It's fantastic.
Thank you. I know your passion for the cause, and I know that a lot of these guys are doing plenty of testing. So help us out, Kelly. What can we do to get you started here? Anything?
I will share my screen because I did do a PowerPoint, but I'll just introduce myself real quickly. My name is Kelli Komondor, and my career started back in 2004 at the Pittsburgh Business Times. So a lot of folks will say, your name looks familiar, and that's typically where it's from, was from whenever I worked at the Business Times. I was there for 11 years in a marketing and sales management position. And then it kind of morphed into me moving into a sales and development position with a custom software development company. I actually managed a bank branch for a few years with First Commonwealth Bank. So I've kind of been all over the place and doing a whole bunch of different things, but everything always came back to me and my love for PR and marketing and helping people and connecting people too, which is really important to me. Last year during the pandemic, I was laid off from a position and turned it around and started my own business, K2 Creative and PR. And all of my clients have come to me from connections, referrals, people saying, hey, did you know Kelly's doing this? So I know how important it is to make sure that your connections stay fresh, that you stay in touch with them. And I also know how hard it is during a pandemic to do, in-person networking and things like that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick of staring at my ring lights and my screen. But you have to do what you have to do. So I will share my screen. A second. I can't see you guys, but that's okay. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. I don't know that you took the share button.
Well, let's see here.
At the bottom there.
There we go.
Yes.
That is better. Aha. And I can still see you guys, so that's kind of nice too. It's like you're not talking to a blank screen. You actually have faces to talk to. So like I said, my name is Kelli Komondor with K2 Creative and PR, and thank you all so much for having me here today. So what we do at K2 is we support small businesses, nonprofits. I work with a lot of authors, coaches, and speakers, and our motto is we make your message matter with PR, content, branding, marketing solutions, anything that has to do with putting your business and your best foot forward. We do at K2 Creative and PR. So what is PR? That's a big thing that they think that it's about cleaning up, celebrity messes, that, celebrities have this high-priced publicist, or even folks who are in the political realm. You clean up people's messes with PR, and that's not what it is. It's about having a form of communication that puts you and your organization in front of the public, in front of the media, and with a positive light. So having a good PR plan or using a publicist enables you the opportunity to build, maintain, and manage your reputation and your reach. And that comes in many forms, which we're going to get to in just a little bit. So why does your organization need PR? It's all about visibility, and it's all about being recognized as an industry expert and putting your nonprofit forward as a worthy cause. So you can gain a lot of traction with sources like podcasts, print and digital publications, speaking and presenting, whether it's live or virtual, by getting on radio and television interviews, and also by being a guest for blogs and blogging and writing print articles. And then also with social media too, because that's obviously the biggest form of reaching out to anyone is through social media. So growing your audience and raising awareness about your organization, as you all know, is super important. And through PR, you can gain donors, you can get volunteers, and you can even find new hires if your organization is hiring through your PR efforts. So a little bit about warm audiences versus cold audiences. And you know all of this. You know that folks who are familiar with you are more likely to do business with you. So, one of the easiest ways to get PR is to invite people that you already know to talk about your organization, to, call a friend, a colleague, maybe somebody you worked with 10 or 15 years ago and say, hey, you know what? I'm looking for some referrals. I'm looking for XYZ. Do you know anyone that you can connect me with? And it has to be a two-way street. You don't want to be the one that's always asking for the referrals and not going out and getting referrals for other people as well. Joining groups and organizations that have a lot to do with your industry, or even those that are largely attended, the larger organizations. You know how that goes, the chambers, the Rotaries, all of those sorts of organizations. And again, social media, and the best bet is to go where your audience is, whether it's virtual or in person. Some of you, it may not make sense to join one organization, but for another's nonprofit, it might be a really good fit. So I suggest doing a little bit of research, making sure that you're not spending time and money unnecessarily before you join something. So I'm going to real briefly talk about your elevator pitch, which I know that you all know this and you all have one, but the format of an elevator pitch to make people understand what you do is so important. The way that I do my pitch and any pitch that I do for clients is, do you know what we do so that? So mine is up on the screen. Do you know that most entrepreneurs don't have solid social media and public relations campaigns? Many business owners have a ton of knowledge about their business and industry, but can't translate what they know into content. What we do at K2 Creative and PR is make your message matter with content, public relations, marketing, and branding solutions, so that you can easily market your business without stressing over what to say, how to say, and where to say it. So to me, having that one solid pitch, and of course, I don't say the same thing every single time I meet someone, but to have that solid pitch with the do you know what we do so that is really important for everybody to have. And that can even be turned into an email. This could be something that you can post on social media with a photo about your organization. So I know that all of you have your own elevator pitch or 60-second or 30-second commercial, but it's just kind of like a reminder that that's a really good format to use for your pitch. So social media opportunities. This is something that is really unique. And I actually told Amy about this not too long ago. I followed, I don't know if any of you do, Pasquale. He is a little Italian man who cooks, and I think his grandson or his son records him in the kitchen, and they cook and they talk about recipes. He has a real heavy accent. He takes you out to his garden, the whole 9 yards. So his people posted on Facebook not too long ago, only using a food, tell us where you live. So I wrote sandwiches with coleslaw and fries on the sandwich. Next thing I know, I have this lady who emails me through my website and says that she wants to talk to me about doing PR for her blog. So I had wrote her back and I said, great, here's my appointment, scheduling tool. Just curious, how did you find me? And sure enough, she said that she's been thinking all month about hiring an expert to help her promote her blog. She writes a relationship and marriage blog. And she saw the comment and said, being the nosy sort, I checked out your profile. I listened to a few podcasts, saw your website, and realized that you also published a book. And I thought, this woman's a force to be reckoned with. And here I am. So crazy enough, you never know who is going to be reading what you are posting on your social media pages. And to me, it's just priceless, the thought that you could possibly get a client just from a simple social media post.
Hey, Kelly, too, it seems like she went to your page and the way your page was designed helped her move through. So it sounds like it was more than just a post. It just was the first step. Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's just crazy. And we've had 3 or 4 different conversations. We're getting together next week virtually. She actually lives in Beaver, so she's not far from the Pittsburgh area. And when she saw that, it just gave her the intuition to say, hey, I'm going to contact this girl and see what she's all about. So I know it's crazy. So that is another important thing, because we all know that it's really important to make sure that we are being sensible and kind and all that good stuff on social media, especially when we're representing our companies and our names. So a little bit about press releases. Why do you need a press release? And it's always to announce positive news. And I just listed a few areas where, because honestly, this presentation could be given to nonprofits and for-profit businesses alike. But some of these things are very specific to the nonprofit industry. So you want to have a press release for any type of event, for any type of donation or partnership that you receive. New hires, retirements, any kind of celebration in the company, any kind of new product or service that you're launching. Let's say that you have a relocation. I know that the Light of Life Rescue Mission did a really big campaign around their relocation when they got their new building. I know Tara Conroy from that organization, and they did a whole campaign showing that they have a new building and new facilities. Any kind of a milestone like an anniversary, results, if you put out a study or a survey and you get some great results from that, and you really just want to release any kind of thought leadership information, you want to send things that are newsworthy. You don't want to send junk. You don't want to do a BCC. You want to make sure that anytime you send out a press release, it's directly to the contact that you're reaching out to. A lot of times people in the media will see like, okay, the to line has no names on it. So this person just BCC'd a whole crap load of organizations, and you want it to be very personalized. Go ahead, Becky.
So we had a big event several months ago, and we were working with a PR firm, and I always thought of like a press release and kind of like the way you're presenting it right now, but they it was more, they called it like a media advisory and then a press release. And the way that they sifted it down in the way that I could understand was the media advisory was something coming up, and the press release is after it's happened. Where I just
Interesting.
would, yeah. So like it was a twist for me because I was like, why aren't we issuing a press release about this? I really didn't feel like we were on the same page, and I didn't really enjoy that part of it. And I probably won't work with them again because of it. But like I felt like the press release comes before, right? Because don't you want people to come and get involved and know?
Yeah, but now you got my mind clicking. Like, what is the reason behind that? I mean, I see the media advisory part of it. And sometimes I think, because some people call things a media kit, some people call things a press kit, a media sheet, a press sheet, like they're all different names. It's more the timing that I think is important.
Because I was like, why aren't we, they would issue it like that day. And, like if we had an event, I didn't think it was handled well. So anyway, I like this because we seem to be on the same page. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I am going to look into that though, because now I'm curious. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, is that something I should have been doing? But I
don't think, I don't think so. And like, I just saw Mary's comment, so that the press release isn't dead. And I have to tell you, no, we were able to get on the national and international map being consistent with press releases, which is something that, we're getting back to. COVID, we had that like 18-month, 2-year hiccup. And now we've got to get back to it because it works for sure.
Yeah. And to me, a lot of outlets, whether they're local, national, whatever, they are looking for good news because everybody knows, and I don't know how you guys feel about swearing, but everybody knows the world's a shit show right now. And to me, if you have something positive to put out there, freaking do it. Like I said, you don't want to send junk. You don't want to clog up media's inboxes with stuff that really doesn't matter. You want to sell a story behind what you're sending to them. So if you're just going to have this little teeny event that's just like an in-office event, of course, you're not going to send out a press release for that. Another thing that I've been trying to do as an up-and-coming publicist, because this is new for me in the last year and a half, is I'm trying to reach out to local outlets and say, listen, I want to share press releases with you going forward. And when you're looking for a story, can you reach out to me and say, hey, Kelly, I'm looking for XYZ? Because even though someone might not be my client, because of all those years at the business times and all the networking that I did, I would gladly reach out to the Amy Fazios of the world and say, hey, Amy, I don't know anybody who fits this, but do you have a client or a friend who may be able to contribute to this story? So that's another thing that you can do too whenever you're sending out your press releases, especially local, to say, we're always doing exciting things in our organization. If you need information for a story, or if you're looking for something specific, would you mind reaching out to me just to see if I have something that would be a fit for what you're looking for? The worst they can say is no. So I am trying that with local press. I did have someone reach out to me not too long ago. I couldn't find anybody to fit it, but no harm, no foul. So what is the difference between a press release and a press pitch? And this is two different things. And Becky, I don't know, maybe they put somewhat of a press pitch into that stuff in the beginning. The press release is the announcement of the positive news, company event development, something that happens in your organization. A press pitch is the paragraph that introduces your brand or company with a suggestion that your story is a good fit for the publication, the show, the blog, whatever you're going for. So your press pitch should always be short, customized, and visual. You want to make sure that you send a photo or that you send a press sheet or a media sheet, depending on what you want to call that. And my thing is to look for national days months ahead of time. Let's say that it's like today is National Women in Business Day or something to that extent. So if your organization focuses on women in business, it would be a great idea for you to start months ahead of time to reach out to press pitches and to reach out to podcasts and radio shows and say, hey, did you know, what is today, September 21st, 22nd? September 22nd is National Women in Business Day or something to that extent. We have a great story for you. So, using Giving Tuesday, National Volunteer Day, all that good stuff are reasons to send out the press pitches. And you want to add value, you want to be timely by using the calendar, and you want to strike emotion. You want people to want to get more information from you and about you. The press release is pitching, did I go backwards? No, I'm good. Is pitching stories, not topics. Again, strike emotion and follow a calendar. This way you're sending things that make sense to the media. So here's just an example of a press pitch. I have a ton of templates that I use, work smarter, not harder, that I just plug and chug, and I change guests and clients' names out. So it's hi, podcast. This is for a podcast or an audio interview. Hi, podcast host or booker's name. Hope this finds you well. I'd love to introduce you to, plug your nonprofit in there. I think your audience would find our story and insights from learning from, and blah, 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 blah. Highlight some things that you can speak to if you want to be on an audio interview or a podcast guest. Don't just say, hey, I run this great organization and we help people. Say, I can talk to how we were able to send backpacks to kids in 10 different school districts and how we brought volunteers together to clean up a neighborhood. Use those kind of examples that are, public related and feel good stories. You want to always pitch a story. A press pitch you can use to be a guest contributor. You can use it to write for blogs, websites, print publications, digital publications. And it's the same sort of format for a press pitch template. I've been following your blog, give them a little rub here. I especially like the article you posted on XYZ, and then propose a title or a topic and give them a few different ideas as to things that you can professionally write about for their publication. So this is what I call a media sheet. Mine got a little crazy. I ended up doing 2 pages. A lot of people say just do 1, but I really had a lot of information to put into mine because I just started a podcast on top of running the business, and I published a book earlier this year. So I wanted all that information in there. The media sheet tells your professional story. You want to have some stats in there and talk about your experience. You want to have logos and graphics. And if you can see on the second page over on the right-hand side, I have Monroeville Chamber. I have Thrive. I have the P100 podcast. Those are places that I have spoke or presented to that show that other professional organizations, and I will add Amy's logo to this too, other professional organizations have found value in what I have to say and have invited me to collaborate with them. Include some personal info. That About Kelly box on the second page talks a little bit about my personal life. And whenever you finish a media sheet or any kind of publicity sheet that you put out, either about you or about your company, ask yourself, would you want to collaborate with you? If you got that sheet sent to you, would you act on it and say, I really want to contact Kelly and I want to see how we can work together? I think that's really important. And also run it by a friend. especially for spell check. Because that's the worst when you send something out and there's an error. It happens. So what does the sheet say? You know, it needs to be clear and concise. You need to brag a little bit about yourself. And it's really important to have testimonials from people. You know, your company needs a bio as much as you need a bio for yourself. So you want to explain the who, what, and why, and share why people should want to connect with you and join your cause. You want to establish trust, authority. You want to make it clear how they can reach you and show how much others enjoy working with you by sharing testimonials. You know, always have a clear call to action. Make sure there's a way for folks to reach out to you and to connect with you. You know, if you use Canva, a lot of times you're able to link in there. You can link your Facebook page or your Instagram page, your LinkedIn. All that stuff can be linked directly through Canva. So whenever you send the sheet out to people, they can just click on live links and go right to your social pages. Becky, do you still have a question or is your hand just raised? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I forgot to unraise it.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Becky will let you know.
I
I
can't
trust her.
see everyone. Okay.
I'm just waving. Just everybody, I'm just waving. Hello.
Hello. Okay. I wanted to make sure. I have a set amount of resources that I use to apply for myself and for clients to be either podcast guests, interviewed, to submit press releases to. I use matchmaker.fm that lists a lot of radio shows and podcasts. Podcastguests.com is one that sends out, I think, twice a week, and they give you 10 podcasts across the nation that are looking for guests, and it's very specific as to who they're looking for, what kind of personal connection you can make with them. You can go to their website, you can listen to a few episodes of their podcast to see if it's a fit. Podmatch.com, Pittsburgh Newswire, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with that. Newswire.com, and then Harrow, I never know how to say it, is Help a Reporter Out. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one, but that has a lot of great resources, and you can get emails up to 3 times a day from them, and they give you different categories. Like you can be in the business category, you can be in health and wellness categories. This way you're not getting everybody who's looking for articles, but I actually got into Huffington Post twice by replying to an article that they had linked from there. So those are just a couple of resources. I can leave that up for a second if you guys want to jot it down.
Well, and I think about MSD Foundation specifically, some of, you know, that traction you guys got years ago from that one Huffington Post article. It's like you got such a great confirmation it works. How can we ramp that up some more? Yeah. Really.
You said MSD, is that another source?
No, that's one of our organizations here. Mary works for MSD Foundation. And
MSD Foundation. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Small but mighty nonprofit.
I love that. I actually do work with a small but not, I almost said small but naughty. Small but mighty. I do a lot of work with the Community Liver Alliance, which is also a really small Pittsburgh area nonprofit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, MSD, I jotted that down. So I'm just looking at some of the notes here. Yes, Canva is a definite lifesaver. If you guys don't have the paid version, I suggest that you just invest in it. It's like $100 a year or whatever it is.
On TechSoup, I think you can get it for free, just so you all make sure to check out TechSoup, right? TechSoup is for nonprofit technology. And never hesitate to reach out to a software company and simply ask for a discount or free as a nonprofit.
You can just get Canva through Canva for free if you just write to them and let them know you're a nonprofit. Even if you have a paid account, which we did, they'll fix it for you so that you don't get charged again.
That's amazing. I'll have to tell the Liver Alliance all of this stuff because I mean, they've been around for a while, but there's a lot of resources they're unaware of. So it'll be nice for me to be able to say, hey, you know what? I actually had a meeting with a bunch of nonprofit folks and here's some stuff that I found out for you guys.
Imagine if they join the collab, how much, I'm going to write the link down for you at TechSoup.com.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely, yes, I do want to connect you with Susanna. We'll talk about that offline. But so yes, you guys seem to be familiar with all of this.
No.
Lumen. Thank you, Mary. I have not heard of that. Lumen 5.
For a video creator.
Interesting.
Oh, is that
See?
some more software you have access to for free?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. They'll take existing, you can essentially upload existing content that you have, images and videos, and it'll stitch it together and put it to music. And then you have the ability to, you know, edit as you see fit, but it's pretty neat.
Oh, wow. Now, is
Yeah.
that just for nonprofits?
No, I don't know if they have I'm still just kind of dabbling in it. I don't know if they have a nonprofit rate or not, but I heard about it on another professional development call that I was on. So
Interesting.
Nice.
yeah, Lumen 5.
I'm on their website right now, and it's free if you have their watermark on your video.
Yes. Yeah.
But then you pay $11 a month to have no watermark.
Huh. To me, it's worth it just to put the watermark on there, right? I mean, yeah, that's like nothing. So, you know, you guys seem like you know where to find press, or at least where to reach out to possibly be included in different sorts, you know, different kinds of press. And a lot of these resources are free, which is fantastic. And even as a for-profit business, of course, everybody's looking for, you know, the cheapest rate they can pay for something within reason. So, you know, that's really the gist of what I have to present. I would love to sit down with all of you and, you know, do like a 30-minute complimentary session if that's, I'm sorry, Amy.
That's so nice. Thanks, Kelly. That's awesome.
Sure. And I would love to help you with the elevator pitch part too, because we could do that in 30 minutes. You know, that is something we can easily whip up if you're uncertain, or if you just don't know what to say, or maybe you're new at networking or new in business. Because I don't know the background of a lot of you ladies. I wrote all your names down so I can research you. So I'll stalk you like that lady did to me on Facebook. But, you know, if you're interested in sitting down and just chatting for 30 minutes, we can do a virtual Zoom just like this and go over maybe what you have right now, maybe talk about how to improve press releases, press pitches, all that good stuff.
That's so generous. I think this has been a really helpful overview, because we've spent so much time, and everybody's at a little bit different of a phase, working out you know, our origin story and our core messaging and our brand positioning. But the thing that really can get stuck is, okay, and I'm a big, you got to get your core strong first, right? But when it's time to expand, and I know some of you are in different positions for that, but all of you are ready for that, to bring in a national audience, a much bigger scope. Not all these folks are from Pittsburgh, Kelly, they're from all over the country, North America anyway. And so the key is, and in strategic planning, I often ask this question. So if you're going to focus on increasing visibility, the ideas that you mentioned were some of them, the presentations, the press releases. How do you manage that on top of running every other aspect, from programming to fundraising, keeping some space for public relations? Do you have suggestions, Kelly, on how? I know I get this feedback. How many press releases are you going to do a quarter? And, oh, we can't predict that. We don't know. Yes, but if you say we're just going to wing it, it might be 0. And if you say, I'm going to do 1 a week, it might be totally overwhelming. Yeah. How do you kind of start in this direction without overwhelming your entire system?
Right. No, that makes total sense. I think that a smart thing to do is sit down maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the start of a new quarter and jot down all the things that you already know you have going on. So if you already know that you have an event, if you know that you have a meeting with, you know, people who are possibly going to become donors or volunteers, if you have a volunteer event, anything that you know that you have coming up, you need to start promoting that probably, I'd say maybe 6 weeks in advance. Mm-hmm. And then again in 4 weeks, and then again the week before. And then, you know, it's kind of a traction thing that you have to keep the traction up, because, you know, I go back after most emails that I send out with a press release for someone, I do a third time. If I don't get a response, I will send 3 different emails. They're basically the same email with the same press release, but I'll change things up in the wording of the press pitch part of it. I just think that, you know, a lot of people have editorial calendars or social media calendars. I think you need one for PR too. You need to have a list of all the things that you're doing. And you don't have to plan it out for the entire year because things change and you don't know what's going to happen. This is say March, you don't know what's going to happen in September, but if you have yearly things that keep the same dates or around the same dates every single year, there's national days, like we said, Giving Tuesday and, National Volunteer Day. Those things don't really change. So you want to make sure those are on your calendar and you're prepared ahead of time. And like I said before, like you just don't want to send out junk. You want it to be something that is newsworthy, that it is a story-backed situation. You don't want it to just be, oh, we haven't sent out a press release, so let's just send something out. Right? So I kind of don't think that you can really set that up and say, I'm going to do one a week for the whole year or twice a month for the whole year. I think it just depends on what you have going on, but you need to plan ahead.
So I like that. So the goal and the plan can be review quarterly. But if you are sending no press releases, here's the thing. Putting that you will send 4 this year, I don't think is very risky. I think you all are, doing amazing work that you will have 4 noteworthy. And those sometimes, Kelly, is where we start, going from 0 to, 1 a quarter, and not exactly, but just not going from 0 to 20.
Right. No, I agree with that. I think that if you're typically not an organization that does a whole lot with press releases or any kind of PR, I do think that promising yourself and, your team to do 1 a quarter is not out of the question, because it's kind of like baby steps. And I think that once the media and the people you're reaching out to see the value in you and what you do, they may come after you and say, you know what, if whatever you guys have going on, send it our way. And if it's a fit, we'll work with you.
And I know Dr. Shelly might have some suggestions. She is a PR machine.
Yes, she is.
Thank you, guys. I mean,
how do you do it, Dr. Shelly?
I'm good. I'm so good. It's crazy busy around here, but I really didn't want to miss this. I know Kelly's on her game, and it's important for me to support you in your new venture here. I have been doing PR for so long, both on the nonprofit side with the Global Sisterhood and Inspiring Lives Magazine, and then also on the for-profit side. I think that you hit on a lot of really valid topics. I think that with Giving Tuesday coming up, Amy, I think that this would be really good for us to take these ideas and really like hone our Giving Tuesday messages, because I know that that's like a huge PR push for the nonprofits. And also I think that you can never underestimate the power of, in the PR world, in the public relations world, in the getting in media, is forming those relationships with people that have magazines, have podcasts, have talk shows, have all those things. I think that reaching out to them, whether it be via LinkedIn or Facebook or networking through things like this that you're doing, Amy, can be really beneficial, because that's where most of my, I've been on 26 magazine covers and all the TV networks and all that jazz, but I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have friendships and relationships with so many people that are out in the media world. So I think that reaching out to people that are in that space, and people that are in collab, always remember that, the Global Sisterhood is my nonprofit that I've been the executive director for years. And we have Inspiring Lives Magazine. If you ever want to send me a pitch, in particular for something that's coming up for you, we've featured many things from the collab, including like Kelly Kane's big summer events and some other things. We're always looking for stories, particularly from powerhouse women, and it seems like there's a lot of those here.
Shelly, thank you so much. I really appreciate all the nice things that you say. You always say such good stuff anyways.
Well, it's always true. I always speak from my heart, and I really appreciate that. I mean, we're all going through pivots right now, and I'm going to be suggesting to people about your new PR company. And so if you, Amy, I can't type it right now, but it's s.hipsky@inspiringlivesmagazine.com. If they want to send me a press release or a pitch about an article about something that's going on that they want to spread the word to an incredible couple thousand group of fabulous ladies around the world, please go ahead and send that to me.
And I
That's
know
awesome.
at one point Amber was connecting with you. So, and here's the thing, guys, as we're, speak of the devil, she must have heard her ears ring. Kelly Kane is in the house.
Hey, Kelly.
Kelly, we were just talking about you. Welcome. What was I going to say? The podcast and the magazine thing, that is not where my bailiwick is. I'm much more grassroots and organizing, but you all have such amazing stories to share. And it's not just, right, the woe is me, right? We talk about this in the collab a lot, right? It's not just the hardship of the story, but also your role in solving the problem as an entrepreneur, as a community leader, and as a nonprofit leader. That actually is incredibly appealing to a lot of entrepreneurial podcasts, a lot of business podcasts. So when I think, what are nonprofit podcasts? You know, I'm like, I don't see a lot of them. I don't know of a lot of good ones, but don't forget, it doesn't have to be a podcast about rare diseases. It doesn't have to be a theater podcast. It can be about, you know, as a community leader, we have to bring people together. Theater is a path to do that. And your journey in doing that. How can we be more inclusive? Well, these programs helping individuals with autism is a path to do that. And here's my journey. Your story of starting and leading your organization, it is a really interesting angle on that. Don't be so humble, you lose out on those opportunities.
And Amy, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I would
Shelly.
totally agree with that. I think that there's so many people that haven't really mastered the humble brag to be able to say, you know, this is what I've done. This is how I've helped people. I was just talking to somebody that was writing a press release for my magazine the other day. And she was like, oh, I don't know if I can talk about myself achieving this. But you have to remember that's where the aha moment comes in for people, that if you have that humble brag at the end where, yes, it's happened, it's come together for this person or for you, that's when they're going to say, oh, I want to be a part of this. They, like you said, Amy, they don't want the down story the whole time. You know, a lot of it, you know, we're dealing with, you know, homelessness or domestic violence or diseases, and if the whole story, the whole pitch, all that stuff is a downer, then you're going to lose them before they get to the good stuff and before they take out their pocketbooks, their purses. So just keep that in mind when you're pitching those type of things to media.
Absolutely, Shelly. And another thing too, you know, I said, Mary just said sad doesn't sell, and that's true.
Love it.
But you know, even part of what I was talking about with that media sheet, you know, you got to brag a little bit. Don't be embarrassed to go to somebody and say, you know what, can you give me 3 to 5 sentences about the value that I brought to your podcast whenever I was on your show, or, you know, the value that I brought for that speaking engagement, you know, and just reciprocate. Say, hey, you know what, I also want to write something for you. Do you mind giving me a couple sentences? Throw their logo on your media sheet. And this way people will see, hey, you know what, she actually has some authority. Or he, I know that you probably have some guys in the group that aren't here, but you know, he or she has authority. You're thinking you must not have any guys. All women?
I think we drove them away. With an industry with 75% leaders being female, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I mean, Shelly's right too. You know, it's that humble brag of, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about, and I can bring value to whatever organization you have. And I can help your listeners, your readers, your viewers gain more understanding about XYZ.
Absolutely.
So I have another question for you ladies, since we have the benefit of your expertise. So you get the podcast gig, you get the article in the magazine. We talk a lot about calls to action, right? Not all being fundraising asks. How do you take that listener who might be interested to that next level of relationship? What are your thoughts around keeping them in your, what I'm calling your brand bubble, how do you bring them into your world after they first hear about you? What are your thoughts?
I like to do some sort of a freebie, whether it's the 30-minute call, whether it's a white paper download, something along those lines. Give somebody a freebie, and always make sure that you're attaching your social media links, your website, and just share the heck out of anything that you're on. Share the links to the podcast, tag the person who interviewed you, tag the company, and ask them to keep sharing it for a few days, and then to go back to it a few weeks later and say, hey, did you guys see this? Did you miss this? In case you missed it, here's something that I just recently did. I think it's a lot of times it's freebies, and it's just, they say that the whatever is in the follow-up, I forget what the saying is for that, but that you need to do follow-up, because people are going to listen to a podcast and go on with their day and might not ever give you a second thought.
Something we've been talking about in here, this concept of a lead magnet. So when you're creating your digital world, right, how your website and your social media and your email kind of bring people through that journey, you want to make sure you're bouncing people through, making sure they're on your list and they're in your Facebook group or your main social media, and that they're tapping into your website, depending on how you're using your website as part of that. A lead magnet is an entrepreneurial term, right, for some type of free giveaway that is of value to your listeners. We don't talk a lot about that in the nonprofit sector, but your information is so valuable. And if you came up with a brief PDF document or a live training on how to protect your child with autism from being bullied, or to help them raise awareness around bullying, how to use more inclusive language in your workplace through, by engaging theater, how MSD and a personal story and plight to solve. What would be a good lead magnet for MSD? Homelessness. What are the FAQs of homelessness in your neighborhood, in our community? That might be something somebody would download that would give them an excuse to give you their mailing address, right? Because the idea is you're looking for a path to continue the relationship, not for a quick close. So we have to think about that lead magnet, that call to action that isn't a direct money ask.
I think that too, a lot of times, there's large organizations who have to do volunteer work, who have to get involved with nonprofits to be able to say, hey, are you the community organizer of PPG Industries or whoever, Westinghouse or what, I'm naming all Pittsburgh companies, obviously, to have something they can download to find opportunities to get involved with your organization too, because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know that certain organizations have a cleanup day, or that the food bank may have a day that you can go and box food for people, and your team members can get credit for those hours.
So it could be download this document to learn how to volunteer with us.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it sounds silly, but people who are interested will give you their email address, and your job is to have a really tight system to move those people through, and you build it out over time. So it's not overwhelming to you, but you're always thinking about meeting somebody's one thing, having a good pitch or conversation is a second thing. But if that's all that happens, they're going to drop off. You're not going to have a chance for those seven touches before they're ready to give, or whatever the statistic is.
That's something I'm still learning, ladies, because I don't have an automated system. I know, you're welcome, Erin. I know that a lot of people use those automated systems where they give you the email and then they have that drip campaign that goes. I'm just trying to find the right one for me. So if anybody has any suggestions, I will gladly take that. I'm not very automated. I tend to do everything myself, which is kind of dragging me down a little bit. So if you have suggestions, I'll gladly take that.
Well, and we're learning that too. We're talking about active campaign. How do you set up a series of emails? How, when somebody joins your mailing list, those 3 welcome emails they get. Yeah. We're doing one thing at a time so we don't get overwhelmed, right? But it is about, how do we do a one-to-many approach versus a one-to-one? We have been so trained as grassroots organizers, one-to-one, one-to-one. I knocked 8,000 doors running for office. I get the one-to-one. I really get it. But it's really hard to scale that way. You need to be able to connect with people. And I know in nonprofits, it's the thank you note. It's got to be more than the thank you note, because you can't scale a personally written thank you note system. You can't do it. So in addition to the thank you note, I don't mean to sound like I'm anti-thank you note, but in addition to the thank you note, you need to be thinking about how they feel like they're in your tribe, in your world, without you I love the idea around Giving Tuesday. I really, we're talking about in the collab calls, building out our timeline for Giving Tuesday with emails being written in October that will start December 2nd, but we're writing them in October. And then how we're going to warm our audience up all month long in November with increased visibility. And how maybe, I think, Kelly, your Dr. Shelly's suggestion, how can we use press and public relations as part of that warm-up process before and after the launch of the campaign? Because Giving Tuesday is not a day, it's simply the launch of our year-end giving, right?
Right. Yeah, that's exciting. Convertkit was another one that I was told. I just looked it up. Someone
Active
told me
campaign,
Convertkit. Yeah,
Convertkit,
active
MailChimp.
campaign, I believe, is for nonprofits, though, correct? I believe.
No.
No. Oh, I'm gonna look that one up too then.
I don't even know what for nonprofit. What the hell does that mean? We're all businesses, right? But I don't know that they have a free version. The mother of the nonprofit software is, of course, Network for Good at $2,500 a year. But it is all inclusive and something we'll grow into. But don't underestimate. You can look in the entrepreneurial sector for solutions. But I love Active Campaign. It's really worked well for me. MailChimp has its limitations, but certainly a place you can start.
And you have a really good system with the whole Facebook thing and the messaging and all that. That's just, it's incredible. I've never seen anything like it before.
We are all winging it. We're all on the edge of discomfort all the time. I went to a Moon Circle women's group last night, and that was one of my intentions I set for this new season, which is it's okay just to sit with your expertise. I don't always have to be on the edge of the next thing. It's okay to be present, right? And to be a little bit comfortable for a minute. We learn on the edges, but it's okay to take a breather from that. I need that reminder sometimes. I think all of you do too, I'm guessing. Guys, I'm excited about PR. This has been a great roadmap. How about any other questions or comments? Something that's maybe worked well for you, or you want to prioritize, or think, gosh, this one strategy might be my focus for the next few months.
I just want to highly recommend what Kelly had already talked about. I put it in the chat, but Matchmaker and Podmatch have been. I have probably done. Well, I've done over 20 podcasts this year so far as a guest.
Oh my gosh.
Because of that. And all you do is put your profile in and people reach out to you. You can also reach out to them and pitch them. But 90% of the podcasts I've done this year were people who reached out to me based on the profile. So it's really, really wonderful. And I highly recommend, it's not a waste of time at all.
No.
To do that.
It's not.
Which one did you mention? You said Matchmaker and Harrow?
And Podmatch.
Podmatch.
So I'm going to look at podcast guests. Also, I'm going to look at the rest that you have. And also Harrow is really good. I'm in the arts, and there are fewer pitches in the arts in Harrow, but it's amazing too.
Yeah, the podcast guest one, I think they send an email maybe 3 times a week. I can't remember exactly. And the first maybe 10 or 12 are people who are looking to be on podcasts. I believe it costs to have your profile on there. But then the bottom of the email, whenever you scroll down, there's anywhere from like 10 to 12 podcasts that are looking for specific guests. Now, sometimes it goes by a theme. Like the one day I got the email, and it was all about comics, like comic strip, comic book designers and comic book collectors. And so obviously it wasn't anything that any of my clients or me were interested in, but you never know. And another thing that I suggest too, that I didn't put in the slides, it just hit me now. I suggest that when you're looking at these things, if you see something that's a fit for someone else, share it with them.
Okay, thank you.
There's nothing like getting an email from someone, and Corey Walmsley is famous for this. I'm sure, I know for a fact some of you ladies know Corey here in Pittsburgh. She will send me things and I will send her things that I'm like, you are perfect for this. Apply to be on the show, or submit a writing piece to this. This is all you. I do with a lot of my friends, and even a lot of people that I just meet. just to kind of follow up of, hey, it was great to meet you, great talking to you, learning about you. I saw something you might be interested in or that you might benefit from, and share that with somebody else. It takes 3 minutes to send that email, but it's something they might not forget, and they might be more willing to help you and your organization because of that outreach.
That's a great suggestion. Yeah. And I love connecting all these dots. Erin's in theater, driving inclusivity and diversity through theater. Dr. Shelly's very passionate about the stage and is in a performance coming up. I'm so excited.
Yes, I'm Donna in Mamma Mia. I have the lead in that. And Erin, I would I'm getting the
You got some jazz hands.
Yeah, we definitely need to connect, Erin, because and also we have a culture section in Inspiring Lives magazine. I'd love to promote your group, because my dissertation was on I'm sorry, I'm going way back, and I know this is Kelly's time, but my dissertation was on theatrical arts and the theater games that we play for emotional behavioral students, emotional behavioral needs students. So I go way back. That was drama discovery. So I'm a huge believer in inclusive theater productions. So I'd love to talk to you about that, Erin.
I would love to. I have your should I reach out to you with the Inspiring in that magazine email? Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Or Facebook Messenger too.
And when in doubt, Facebook Messenger. Yeah.
I'll do Facebook. Yeah, I'll do that too. Okay, cool.
Excellent.
Thank you. Excellent. Amy, do we have a couple minutes just for everybody to tell me what their organizations are? Do you ladies mind sharing that with me? I probably should have given you an opportunity to do that at the beginning, but you know, it was all about me at the first half hour. So
absolutely. And we can take a few minutes as we finish up. What we typically do, once a month, we have a guest expert come in. So thank you for being here today. But every other week, we actually just take 15 minutes and work through where folks are moving through the modules. And I'm excited to share the PowerPoint presentation as part of the library, so folks can come back to it if that works, Kelly. But yeah, if you'd like to share who you are and what you're working on. And then in the comments, if you can let me know just by saying help, and then we can know that you want a few minutes today to work through some things. We make sure we save time for that. That would be great. Give me a help in there. But should we start at the top left with the Stephanie Becky Large duo? Are you guys?
We are here.
My left, at my top left. Stephanie, you want to let us know what CAN is working on?
What are we working on right? So much.
Or just your mission in general, I guess I should say. Just so that Kelly gets a sense of your mission.
Okay, yes. So we are trying to promote awareness for autism and create more acceptance in the public and restaurants, businesses, just in general. We have a CAN card, which businesses can take training, and they either provide a service or product to our families, and it's a discreet way for them to notify the staff that there's an autism family on property. And
pretty awesome.
So yeah, so that's basically what we do. We're doing a ton of things right now. So starting the affiliate program, trying to get it up and running. Hopefully Kelly will help us with that too. But yeah, exciting stuff.
CAN, like a CAN, CAN.
CAN, Champion Autism Network. Yeah.
Okay.
So you train businesses to be autism friendly, and you host recreational events for families with autism as well, right?
Yes, we do host sensory friendly events at places like Big Air, Rock and Jump, Ripley's Aquarium, things like that for the families, movies, so that their families can experience those traditional family activities that they might otherwise not do.
Really combating that isolation. And Kelly Kane is in autism as well. Oh, you're muted, girl. But from a different, slightly different angle. Some overlap, but also different, right?
Yeah, so I've worked in conjunction with Becky. I helped her with a lot of her trainings for her hotels. the Autism Caring Center was founded about 4 years ago. We just needed to fill the gap that we see in the Pittsburgh area, especially. I do a lot of advocacy training as well of businesses. I've done Pittsburgh Botanical Gardens, Washington Wild Things, do school trainings for paraprofessionals and educators. We're trying to get into the preschools right now. I'm on my second preschool training. You know, that's where all the kids start. So, you know, getting those preschool trained on autism is huge. That is not usually part of the curriculum when you're becoming a teacher. Shelly could correct me on that if I'm wrong. I was part of Shelly's magazine for a little bit. I did some writing for her, and I had an autism notebook before that, and I actually delivered it to her teaching at Robert Morris. They use that as a resource for her students. So I've been in this field for a while. I just do a lot of advocacy for parents. So I'm really in the trenches here. We just opened our doors to support groups, and the painting is starting this afternoon. So I'm kind of excited about that. We'll be hosting some family events here as well, and then maybe do some on-the-go things, events in the area once I can get enough volunteers and support in back of me, because I'm only one person. So, but it's been a dream of mine for so long, and I just really understand what the community needs. So I'm really thrilled to be here. And without Amy in this group, I might have folded last year. So I'm glad to be here and get some information.
Seems like you have some great momentum going, Kelly.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's been a great couple weeks. So.
Congrats. Yay. But Erin, what do you want to give us the overview? I know we talked a little bit, but tell us what you're up to.
Yes, I am the executive artistic director of a theater called The Scene Place. Fun fact, the Greek translation of the word for theater means the place we go to see ourselves. So that's really the core of our mission, is to provide the kind of theater where someone can come in and see themselves represented on stage. We specialize in stories by and about women, immigrants, people from the global majority, which would be pretty much anyone who is non-white, people with disabilities and chronic illnesses, and people from the LGBTQ community. And our vision is to create a world where empathy and inclusion are front of mind for every single citizen.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I love
That's
it.
such an amazing approach. I mean, it's just like, I would have never thought of that. Like, I did not know. That's great. That's really great. Really nice to see.
Thank you.
Mary's working hard, solving some very serious world issues we have. What are you working on in the MSD world?
So I'm Mary Douglas. I'm with the United MSD Foundation. We're a small nonprofit headquartered in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, right down on the coast where the hurricanes have loving the heck out of us for the past couple of years.
It's every other week you're evacuating, I swear.
Oh my gosh. I mean, every time a cloud comes in the sky, I'm like, no. But anyway, we're a small but mighty team. We have 5 of us on staff, and our founder is Amber Olson, who works with closely with Amy, and Amy's helped give us a lot of great guidance on some fundraising and comm strategies. So Amber's daughter, Willow, who is 8 years old, has a rare genetic disease called multiple sulfatase deficiency. And without getting all sciencey, essentially, it is very similar in nature to like if a child had Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease. It's extremely regressive. It's a neurological condition that affects the whole body. And when Willow was diagnosed in 2016, at the age of 2, Amber was told, you know, there's no treatment, there's no cure, there's no nothing. It's, you know, it's a rare disease. It's not a lot of kids, so there just hasn't been really a lot of muscle put behind it. And so Amber, being Amber, doesn't take no for an answer. And so she and her husband Tom just sprang into action and started researching and finding other families across the world and going to scientific conferences and sneaking into sessions to talk to doctors and all this kind of stuff. And so she started the foundation, and essentially we are, obviously raising awareness about the disease, and then raising funds to do the first clinical trial, the first gene therapy clinical trial for the disease. And so we have, we're connected with about 100 families across the world. So it is, it is super rare.
Meaning the disease affects, as far as we know, it's affecting.
As far as we know, there's about 100 known diagnoses in the world. However, due to a lot of different factors, we believe that it's extremely underdiagnosed. So there's likely many, many more, but of course, it depends on access to healthcare and, if you can go get genetic testing and all of that kind of stuff. And so
these guys are taking on big pharma directly. I mean, it's this, a $350,000 to $400,000 organization heading straight to big pharma saying, you will pay attention to this. You will not ignore us just because we're 100 families. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And we have some very exciting news, which we are going to be doing a press release after the first of the year. We received funding from the NIH, which is huge. Not enough money to solve our problem. So we got $20,000. That's going to be used in part to fund our scientific and family conference that we're going to be hosting next year. Hopefully we can do it in person in 2022. But, I think the story there is, we're this small nonprofit organization, parent-led. We work with other parent-led organizations across the world for this disease. And we have the attention of the National Institute of Health.
I mean, that's just such hard money to get. And then to just have this angle, you basically got the attention of the US government saying no.
Well, it was funny because I contacted their communications office and said, hey, we want to do a press release. I just want to make sure that, what your process is, if there's any boilerplate language we need to include, all that kind of stuff. And he said, tell me again what grant you got, because little teeny weeny nonprofits just,
they couldn't even understand it.
Institutions or universities and all that. So we're very, very excited about that. I think it's a huge feather in our cap, and we're gonna.
And Mary, it speaks a lot again to your work. What these guys have been able to do is prove that they actually have the solution, and now it really is just a money problem. Usually, it's a science problem. Yeah. They've been able to prove in a very lucky way. You nailed it with the mouse study, and Amber's been working on telling that story. Amber can really is deep into the science, so we have to pull her out of the science a little bit to talk to the rest of us humans. And Mary does a great job helping her with that.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's an incredible story. Congratulations. That's just amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And what we have been trying to do is have kind of third party. We've done a couple of calls with some of our kind of top scientists, with some of our bigger donors and interested parties and all that, to kind of a deep dive into what the science looks like. And it's funny because Amber's like, I've been saying this for 4 years and I'm just the mom who wants to help her kid. But then you get a scientist that says their treatment works. I've never seen results as good as this. So I think that really speaks volumes about what we've been able to do. So.
Work. Congratulations on that grant.
Thanks for having me on the call today too. This was really, really helpful.
Good to see you. Good to be together. Hopefully we have you join some more messaging, Giving Tuesday messaging. Happy to help. So that's the crew. Dr. Shelly, did you want to, are you available to share with us
Sure. I think a lot of people on this call know about the Global Sisterhood. We help women and children around the world. We have a school for entrepreneurship studies in Tanzania in Africa. We've really helped so many different groups through different leaderships and charity work, from Nepal, where we've helped over 80,000 women learn how to read and write through Dr. Mina there. And our most recent campaign was to get sunglasses for children in both Africa and in India. We were alerted to the fact that there's so many children that are albino and have disabilities that they need sunglasses with UV protection. And some of these kiddos that are either albino or autistic, particularly in parts of Africa, were being, their life was being threatened. And of course, to me, that is horrific. So the children that are albino in Africa are actually hidden away in camps so that they can be protected, because they are looked at as being cursed by Satan or something along those lines. So it's a very terrifying proposition. So they are pretty much, cast out from their villages and have to live at this camp with all of them together. So we went on this mission to get them. I got over 250 sunglasses, and because they had been cast out, it was important to me that we put on the side, on the brim of the sunglasses, "I am loved by the Global Sisterhood," so that they know that they are loved. So that was our most recent international donation. But we also do a lot of stuff here in Pittsburgh with people like Melissa Ferraro at Sister's Place. We always try to support Kelly Kane. I have a child who was recently diagnosed with autism personally, my son Jacob, who I adore. So I have switched into mommy mode on that angle, and Kelly Kane has been just an amazing resource for me for that. So I just wanted to tell her thank you for that. We got him diagnosed in record time, and it's just been really, really wonderful to have the collab community here for that support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love your global perspective, and we're rooting for Jake Man for sure. I'm glad.
Thank you.
I'm happy for him and for you, so that you can.
Thank you.
Yeah, love on each other. And I love the Global Sisterhood, how you really just target what's needed where, and you get the resources in a very nimble and entrepreneurial way. That's so needed.
Thank you.
So thanks for sharing all of that. And guys, connect with Kelly, like 30 minutes of just debriefing. What an awesome offer. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. It is the least that I can do for you inviting me to talk to this group. I appreciate